and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and it is Wednesday. And of course, what does that mean? It means a special toy news video here, as we're on the cusp of San Diego Comic-Con 2026, just mere hours away, minutes already passed, depending when you're watching this video, of course. But today is preview night, I should say, more like tonight, Pacific Coast time, I want to say like 6 o'clock. So it is a little bit of a late night for people on the East Coast, but preview night is tonight, kicks off the festivities for San Diego Comic-Con Wednesday through Sunday. And you know, on this channel, we're going to cover it all. We'll have daily toy news videos probably for the rest of the week. And even after, when the dust settles and we clear our heads and we take a step back and we take a look at everything we saw over the next couple of days from all the different toy lines we cover here on this very YouTube channel. But today, on the eve, the cusp, whatever you want to call it, of San Diego Comic-Con, we got a lot of toy news stuff to talk about. So I got 2 pages of toy news as we lead up to San Diego Comic-Con, and we're going to cover it right here. But first, got to thank our friends over there at Jay's Toys and Games for sponsoring the toy news. Use code Kyle, save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. Got to get a deal out there. You guys know the drill by now. And check out Patreon. We got giveaways. You get early access to videos like this as Patreon YouTube channel members. Supports the channel, all that kind of fun stuff. Check out Patreon. Papa Shango Ultimate Warrior 2-pack is the giveaway this month for Patreon in July. Check it out if you haven't already. But let's get into the news here. Like I said, tonight is preview night. We're going to find out what, dare I say, all the fuss is about. That's what we're going to find out here today. But preview night is tonight. Check out Monday. I want to say it was Monday on this very YouTube channel. I did give my WWE, I should say more wrestling predictions for San Diego Comic-Con. The story for me is temper your expectations. There's a lot of people with disappointment in this new digital age. There's a lot of leaked lineups. There's a lot of render reveals. There's a lot of pre-orders from friends like Ringside Collectibles, where we're going to see a lot of that stuff where, you know, there's pre-orders right now with just pretty promotional images, not of the figures and stuff, and we're going to see the full-on digital render, maybe even straight-up prototypes for those figures. So it's not going to feel like we're seeing anything new when we actually are. So it's just all about setting your expectations. Don't go in there thinking we're going to see LOD, Macho Man Randy Savage, Rick the Model Martel, and we're going to see all this kind of stuff. You also have to remember, for all these companies, this is basically what is going to carry them through the rest of this year into early next year. You got New York Toy Fair, you got New York Comic-Con to come later this year and early next year. So this is a roadmap for 6 months, maybe 12, depending on the company. So don't think you're going to see 1,000 figures because that roadmap, that runway isn't that long. So just know what you're getting yourself into. Enjoy the process, enjoy the fun, enjoy the exclusives if you possibly can. And like I said, we'll be covering it here on the channel. But let's start with WWE Mattel. They did put up over at Mattel Creations, looks like on the 23rd. That is the day of their panel, as we know, with Sam Roberts and the whole Mattel team will be there, of course, Rey Mysterio and Danhausen. 7/23, we're going to see Mattel Creations exclusive. And it's got the $2 signs on it, which I believe means it's going to be an Ultimate. I think that's the case. Are we going to finally see that Ultimate Penta that was first kind of shown very quickly in a clip at Mattel Revealed? Or, since Danhausen's there, is it going to be a Danhausen figure made to order? That feels like what it's going to be, but it could be something else as well. My gut tells me it's going to be Danhausen, and we're going to get overloaded with Danhausen. I don't think we'll have a ton of Danhausen representation this go-around. You never know, we might. But I think this Ultimate Mattel Creations Danhausen, probably on first appearance, I'm sure that's what it'll be. And it'll take about a year to get to us, I have to imagine. So be on the lookout for that. But it looks like 7/23, that'll go live on their site over there. We also saw this week from Mattel, we got a little bit of a Target look to the future here. And it looks like this will go up for pre-order maybe this week. As of right now, you can't order. But we saw Bret Hitman Hart from the Legends Greatest Hits wave coming this fall. Usually not online until later, but it is part of that with the Jimmy Hart Build-A-Figure. It looks like those will be able to be ordered online. So that should be coming probably in the next couple of days for pre-order. So be on the lookout for that. More WWE news. I don't know if you guys are like me. I know some people have got their Cody Amazon Ultimate exclusive. The Ultimate Edition Cody, I unfortunately, like a lot of others, had mine delayed. It was supposed to actually be here today. Now they said they're not sure, and I have to approve the delay on it. We'll have to wait and see where that one goes. But some people got them, some people haven't. I think it just depends where you're shipping from, no doubt about it. But WWE Mattel should have a lot of news here. And as I said, preview night's always a big night. We will cover that on the channel. Make sure you check out the unboxing of the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive on the channel as well. We're going to be unboxing that Cyndi Lauper, Roddy Piper, Captain Lou unboxing on the channel. We'll dive through it. We'll run it through its paces like we always do. So be on the lookout for that. Now we're going to turn our attention over to the big rubber guys from Collect Major. A lot of news and notes the last couple of days here. And I guess we'll start it off with Cactus Jack. We did get the pre-order up on Monday, like we talked about the toy news last weekend. We've been talking about this Cactus Jack figure for a while. Sounds like the first 200 Cactus Jacks ship out right away. The rest are coming in the fall. Now, I went there. I set my alarm on my phone. Of course, I was in meetings. Yes, Todd, always in meetings. Even if I'm on vacation, I'm still in meetings. But I did set my alarm for 3 minutes before, of course, the window. It was like 9 a.m. my time or whatever it was. And I went to the Collect Major website because I wanted to get Cactus Jack, a favorite of mine, as you know. I got in there, 9 o'clock, hit refresh, nothing. I typed in cactus, popped right up, ordered, went through the process, all good. I said, you know what? I should order 2 of these. Went back in, sold out. And I guess the official word was it sold out in 45 seconds. Got to be one of the fastest sellouts in Collect Major history. But don't fret, take the step back if you missed out. They shortly after that put him back up for pre-order for the fall ones that are shipping. Also, the bloody variant will ship in the fall. So I got my order in for that bloody variant. And I picked up another cactus. I'm feeling like I might get one to get autographed. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But I just needed one to unbox anyway. So all good in the hood, as they say, Todd McFarlane, as you guys know. But a lot of people mad about that. But at the end of the day, you're still going to get your cactus. You're just not going to get it first. It kind of is what it is at this point. But it's always hard dialing into those. And a lot of people said, there's no way they had 200. There's all this stuff. There's always conspiracy about those kind of things, as we know as well. But it is unfortunate. If you really wanted them, you had to be eagle-eyed. You had to be on the nose. Literally, it was a game of seconds, milliseconds, you could almost say. So if you get your Cactus Jack, you're probably pretty happy about that. I can't personally wait for the Bloody Edition. Just wish I had a Terry Funk to go along with that. Maybe in the future, you never know what might happen. Maybe Mattel will surprise us, give us Terry Funk to match it. I think that would be very, very fun. But some disappointment with that one. I would say just kind of breathe deep on that. Breathe deep. But we're not done with the Collect Major stuff. As on, let's see, Tuesday morning, Matt Cardona did announce that a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive is coming. It is Big Rubber Guys, Hawk and Animal, the LOD. It's a repaint, which is perfect for San Diego. It's the gold shoulder pads, the SummerSlam gear there. And I got to be honest, Todd McFarlane, I'm going to say it here. You guys know me. I'm a Road Warriors LOD guy. Out of all their different color combinations, these are my absolute least favorite. I didn't like that gold on them. I like the black. I like the blue. I like the red. Those are the top 3. But after that, a little dicey. That gold was never a favorite of mine. Very iconic, very memorable. And it makes sense as an exclusive. Got to get the most out of your molds once again. I think they're going to be limited to 2,000, so I don't think if you'll have that hard of a time picking these up if you do want them. So be on the lookout over there at Collect Major for that one as well. We also saw a little bit more Collect Major this week. High Spots is pre-selling BRG, a Big Rubber Guy, of Jushin Thunder Liger for only $99.99, and it will come autographed. Now, these are normally $55, and I believe the Liger will be a Pro Wrestling Tees exclusive. So if you want an autograph version, that's not that big of a price difference, I feel like, for the autograph, as long as it's signed good and it looks good. It's not Sharpie or something along those lines. But if you wanted to get on that Liger before Pro Wrestling Tees, and I wouldn't be shocked to see Pro Wrestling Tees put that one up or something up around San Diego Comic-Con. A lot of our favorite toy lines, toy companies, things like that, they're going to have stuff around San Diego Comic-Con. I even got something from eBay in my spam folder today that said, hey, San Diego Comic-Con week, make sure if you're selling things, put San Diego Comic-Con in the title, as there'll be a lot more searches around it. You know, toy stores, toy companies, people at San Diego, etc., are taking note of that. And it's honestly about the most expensive time of the year to be a toy collector this time of year. Between the pre-orders at San Diego Comic-Con, plus Target, Walmart pre-orders finally shipping, reset season, there's a lot going on this month. It's a very expensive month for the wallet, so budget accordingly or something like that. But not done with Big Rubber Guys here. This one came out of left field for me on Monday night. It looks like on the 23rd on the evening here. What time was it? 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Central for those keeping track at home. Walmart Live with Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. I'm assuming, we know what happens when you assume, Todd McFarlane. that would be from, of course, San Diego Comic-Con. But there is going to be a Walmart exclusive big rubber guy, San Diego Padres Macho Man Randy Savage. And you're exactly right. I already said it. Stop stealing my jokes over there. It is the Benito Santiago Jr. tribute edition for the San Diego Padres. Probably the greatest Padre of all time. What? Tony Gwynn? Come on. Does anybody remember Tony Gwynn for the Padres? No, I agree. Tony Gwynn, the most famous Padre of all time. But you know, Collect Major, they're going deep cut. They're calling this the Benito Santiago Jr. tribute gear for San Diego Padres, Macho Man Randy Savage. Now, you're probably saying, what the heck, San Diego Padres? Well, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, San Diego Comic-Con's going on. I guess it makes sense there, but of course, if you're reading the room on Major League Baseball, are the Padres a top 10 favorite team? Are they a top 10 attendance team? I'm going to guess no. Of course, Oakland A's are number 1, probably Philadelphia Phillies number 2, Chicago Cubs number 3. Those are my 3 favorites in order, Todd, so I'm sure that's the way it goes. The Dodgers, get out of here with the Dodgers. Nobody likes the Dodgers. They barely have a team since Kirk Gibson left back in like 89 or whatever it was. But makes sense, I guess. San Diego, it's the tie-in there. But I have to imagine the most of the country is like, I don't want a San Diego Padres Macho Man. People in San Diego probably do, but does somebody that lives in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, are they clamoring? Are they getting sweaty for a Macho Man in Padres gear? Probably not. Now, I've talked about this before. I understand this. This is getting the most out of your molds and getting most out of your properties between Macho Man and Major League Baseball. Yes, Macho has a little bit of a connection to baseball with the Cardinals and the Reds. We do know that. I think he's probably doing gator rolls in his grave about that red one coming out before the Cardinals. But that's just my guess. That's just my assumption there. We know all about that town of Cincinnati, Todd McFarland. But very interesting. They're going to go deep and they're going to give us every major league team in Macho gear. Now, part of me says, man, if you had a display where it's every single Macho Man in that gear from every single baseball team, that would be pretty darn cool. But you're looking at $55, $60 a pop on these bad boys. I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze. This is a great idea for if you can get it in San Diego shops and stuff. Obviously, you want to have it online. There's Padre fans outside of San Diego, obviously. But not sure if this is going to set the world on fire. And will the average Joe going to Walmart CollectorCon say, skip, pass? That's kind of my guess here, but I do think it is a smart move by Collect Major putting the business hat on. It's finding to get as much money as you can out of different properties. So very interested to see that. I know a lot of people are saying, why would they partner with Walmart? Walmart's the worst for collectors because it's about following the money. We're putting our business hat on. You know, Collect Major. I'm pretty sure Matt and Brian would absolutely love it if they could just have all their income come from Collect Major and this kind of stuff. I get it. I totally understand that. And you're going to need people like the Walmarts and the Targets to get invested in your stuff if you want to get to those next levels of things. There's tiers to this thing, as they say. There's levels. And I'm sure they want that there. Now, I can tell you from personal experience of watching from the sidelines and dealing with Walmart and Targets and many other retailers for decades, Todd, just you and me, old road dogs, of course. But for decades, I've been sitting in offices in Bentonville. I've sat in offices in Minnesota talking to buyers. Now, it's an interesting dynamic because a lot of people want to get Target and Walmart. They want to get distribution with those channels. You got to be careful what you wish for because I've seen a lot of companies, small companies, go out of business because they couldn't please the Walmart overlords. They couldn't get enough product. They ended up having to rush things and things didn't work out so well. They got overextended and all of a sudden they're in trouble. And next thing you know, they are filing for bankruptcy. They're selling their company or whatever. So I don't think that'll happen here. I think they're wise enough to see through that. But of course, very dangerous game if you play here trying to get to that next level. And I guess you could put that to anything in life. To get to that next level, it's not always easy. There is some bumps and hurdles along the way. And I'm sure Collect Major will have some of those along the way. But be on the lookout for that one. But we're going to segue here. We're not done with Walmart. This one is surprising as well. Zombie Sailor Toys. They are going to have a 1 of 500 Jeff Jarrett Pinnacle exclusive, only 500 made, and it will be part of Walmart Collector Con as well. Now, I don't know about you guys being Todd, and Mark Summers isn't here today. He's got a busy weekend. They're getting ready for SummerSlam up there in Minnesota. But if you are going to the Mall of America around SummerSlam, make sure you visit the Double Dare booth. Mark will be there working, and if he's not there, he's probably on break. Just ask the attendant, say, hey, where's Mark Summers? Trust me, they love to be asked about Mark Summers at the Double Dare booth. So if you're in Minnesota the next couple of weeks, get there. But he's getting ready for all the shenanigans. It's going to be busy up there at the Mall of America with all that crowd from SummerSlam. But Zombie Sailor is going to have that Pinnacle 1 of 500 Jeff Jarrett there. To me, it feels like there's something in the air. I have a feeling that Collect Major and Zombie Sailor, we know they're friends. We know they're close. I think there's some melding of the business, and maybe not financially, but I think there is, hey, I have the number for this guy, Zombie. Take it. Here it is if you want to try to call him. Back and forth. I think, hey, one of these two got a connection to Walmart. Hey, I got a good buddy over here, Zombie, or I got a good buddy over here, Collect Major. I think there's something going on here. I think that's a crazy coincidence, both announced on the same time, same day. I think there's more to that story. Dare I say, Todd McFarlane, are they in cahoots like you and I are in deep cahoots with McFarlane Toys? Deep cahoots of Todd McFarlane. But there's more to that story there. I don't know what it is. I don't know. They don't have to tell anybody that story, but there's definitely a working relationship there. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. I can smell it a mile away, something like that. But 1 of 500 Pinnacle, it is a repaint, so not everybody's going to want it. Feels like 500 might go fairly quick. We'll end up seeing what happens there. But big moves for Zombie. He's talked about it for a long time, wanting to get into Walmart. I think for both these companies here, their next step, their next try is going to try to be at traditional retail. Backed by the TVs, Todd McFarlane. That's where they're wanting to be, backed by the TVs. We'll see if it ends up happening for them. I don't know. I wish them both luck. So we'll see where that ends up going. But that was pretty big news, I did feel, this week here as well. We keep on the hits, keep on coming. I should keep it at Walmart. Their Collector Con starts on the 23rd, goes for a couple of days. We're going to see pre-orders, WWE, G.I. Joe, all kinds of different things. We're used to it by now, and they do it every year around San Diego Comic-Con. So once again, get your money ready. And while we're on the topic of Walmart, I should point out there, last week in the toy news, or in the weekly purchases more like it, I did show that I got the Yokozuna and Dominic Mysterio Street Fighter figure. I got an email on Monday saying, hey, review the figure, get a $5 Walmart gift card. Now, I've had these in the past, but I've been getting these every single Walmart order that gets complete at this time. I'm not sure if that's random or not, but make sure you're checking your emails and stuff, because $5 is $5. For me, doing the most simple review, I just go 5-star, 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 great figure. Takes me 30 seconds. I got a $5 gift card to Walmart. It applies to my wallet. Next time I purchase something, I get $5 off. Did it for both of them. There's $10 off. Crumbs make crumb cake, as they do say, Todd McFarlane. I'll take all the money I can get in this action figure game. So that's like a free $10 for about a minute of work. I think that's worth it to me. Should be worth it to you. So check your spam if you order from Walmart. See if you get that stuff. Maybe it's random. Maybe it's not. But I'll do them as long as they want to send those my way for sure. Moving on to some other toy news this week in the wrestling headspace. We talked about this 2 or 3 weeks ago, more like it, on the toy news. It was LaToonie. They had a big announcement coming very soon. The announcement just happened. They said, we got a designer back in the fold, and I had a feeling, and I immediately guessed what it was, and I was correct. Stephanie Iskander is coming back. She was the designer of the Wrestling Buddies, the Tonka Wrestling Buddies, once upon a time, from beautiful Minnetonka. That's where Mark Summers has a little condo up there on Lake Minnetonka. A lot of people don't know that. But Tonka Toys, the Wrestling Buddies, once upon a time. She has come back. She did do a design for LaToonie of Axe. And of course, without Axe, you got to have Smash. So I have to imagine Smash will be coming in the future. These look really, really good. I'm not a Wrestling Buddies guy. I have all the old Wrestling Buddies. I said, you know what? I'm going to pick these up. I got a heck of a deal at once upon a time, like 5 years ago. They kind of just sit around my collection. Not my favorite thing. I didn't get them as a kid because to me they were dolls and it was something my sister would probably want, not me. But I definitely like them. There's definitely nostalgia around them. And I don't know if I'm going to get these or not, but Axe and Smash would go pretty good. Now, will the quality be the same? That's the key on these. We'll see where that ends up going, but pre-order coming very, very soon. I want to say like the 31st of July. So if you're after some Wrestling Buddies, going to be very interesting with the talent pool at LaToonie. He could probably fill some holes in that collection. And the next piece of news from LaToonie goes there. That's where my brain goes first, is a Wrestling Buddy, Sergeant Slaughter. As LaToonie did announce, they have signed Sergeant Slaughter. Have to imagine we're going to get the retro Hasbro style. We'll get the LJN LaToonie style as well. Probably the cartoon variants like the Macho Man that's coming out very soon. Andre, we already unboxed on the channel, and the Wrestling Buddy, and all points in between. Only thing is, Sergeant Slaughter's really worked the circuit, as we know, the last few years. Money talks, though. It'll be interesting to see what LaToonie could do different than all the other properties that have had Slaughter for so many years. But have to imagine a Sergeant Slaughter Wrestling Buddy to go with that variety would be something on the list there. This one totally out of left field, and I had to use the mental Rolodex, and I try not to use that if I don't have to. But Title Run Toys is going to have an exclusive for San Diego Comic-Con. It is Mr. X. And you say, who's Mr. X? I think that's what most people say. But it is Dangerous Danny Davis, of course, the evil referee. We've got Danny Davis from Title Run Toys. Now we're getting one of his alter egos. About as deep of a possible cut as you could possibly get right here. Have to imagine small quantities on this one. But it's, once again, getting the most out of your license, getting the most out of your molds, most likely. We're going to get that. So be on the lookout for Title Run Toys if you're after a Mr. X figure, because guess what? I doubt you ever get another Mr. X figure in your collection. So make note of that. We also saw KWK this week, USA Pre-Order Hub. Flat $5 shipping from KWK. Go over to their website, read more into it. Kevin Kelly and the Fantastics will be the first one to take part of that $5 flat rate shipping. Add all it in there. All you do is pay $5. Now, the one thing they did put, the old caveat, the old asterisk in there, it's going to be super slow shipping. So if you don't need your figures right away, it's a great way to save some money. But if you need them a little bit faster, you got to go to the J&J Figures in the places you've been getting to lately. But that is an option out there as well. So be interested to see who takes advantage of that. But if you want to save a little bit of dollars, as it is an expensive world this day, this would be a way to do it. And then you guys are going to be really shocked here. Of course, it is, like I said, Wednesday right now. Wednesday of San Diego Comic-Con week. But I was fairly shocked. We actually got a Power Town update.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering?
All right, it's time for the Power Town update. Now, if you watched the toy news last weekend here, we did get to reveal, and it was great, big coup for the channel here. It actually netted out to 1,000 extra subscribers just with this announcement. It was crazy how that ends up working. The dollar's going to be rolling in after this one here. But I did get officially announced the Power Town David the Gnome collab. Of course, it's going to be the greatest action figures of all time. David the Gnome, we're going to see them all at San Diego Comic-Con. But in a plot twist, we had a bit of an accident this week. Just yesterday, actually, as I'm filming just yesterday. And Steve and Donnie, of course, salt of the earth, two of the all-time greats in action figures, as we know. You know, they deal with that Lucky Group over there in China, Todd McFarlane. But Steve and Donnie ran into a little bit of a problem, unfortunately, this week here, as they were getting ready. They're getting packed, of course, for San Diego Comic-Con. And they were really, their hearts were in the right place. As Power Town, their heart's always in the right place. They care about you, all of us. They care about all of us, as we do know. And their heart was in the right place. They said, you know what? Let's go to the grocery store. I got a connection. I can get some deal on some beverages because it's hot this time of year. San Diego, it's hot. It's hot inside. It's hot outside, as we know. And they said, we're going to get some beverages for everybody. We're going to have some coolers off to the side, give everybody a drink. It's going to be just a nice goodwill thing. Get people to come over and check out our David the Gnome figures. They get a nice cool Gatorade or maybe a Dr. Pepper. Who knows? They like those 32 flavors or whatever in those Dr. Pepper. I don't touch the stuff myself. But they said we're going to get stuff. And unfortunately, disaster hit. It just seems like this company's so snake bitten. Is it just me? Maybe it's you guys as well. But Donnie did send me a text. And Kyle, here's what we're dealing with right now. So we might as well roll the clip. Oh man, is that not the worst thing? As a guy that's been a grocery store rat as a kid, I worked in the grocery industry for a long time. Been on the other side of the fence though the last couple of decades, Todd. I've seen like this time or two in my day. And the first thing I said is, all right, Steve, Donnie, which one of you guys was operating the forklift? Which one? And unfortunately, it was our friend Steve Rosenthal operating and Donnie was filming. At least that's what Donnie told me. And I did find out. I said, guys, are you forklift certified? And what do you think the answer back was? No, we're not. So they got to clean up in the back room. They got to figure that all out. We'll see how it goes. We'll have to stay tuned this week for San Diego Comic-Con updates to see how Donnie and Steve's West Coast adventure ends up going. But we're not done with the toy news. And as Jerry Reed always says, hits keep on coming with some more late-breaking toy news here. There was a picture from the Sly Stallone shop in social media. We do know about the Big Rubber Guys, LJN style, whatever you want to call them. Rocky figures coming. We've talked about them the last couple of weeks. Looks like there's going to be a video with Sly Stallone himself putting these over. Man, oh man, they look good though. I think there's a few things I'd tweak, but I'm most likely going to pick them up. Haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I think I will end up doing that. So stay tuned for that video from Sly Stallone. Maybe we'll cover that down the road a little bit here. We also heard from G.I. Joe on Tuesday. It looks like the Crimson Snake armor will be coming up very soon. Once again, they showed that off just like last week. They showed off Sergeant Slaughter and the Triple T. I talked about it last week. I'm going to talk about it again. Hasbro, pump the brakes. Leave some of that stuff for San Diego Comic-Con because once again, it goes to setting expectations. And you're going to see that, and you'll probably see Slaughter in hand, which is great. It's different, but you already knew it was coming. And you're going to see pre-orders and all that kind of stuff. There will be some new stuff. There always is. There'll be some reveals, but there could be a lot more. And I think the more the better, the more the merrier, at least in my opinion, because you'll see it on social media. Oh, the Joe team, we only heard 5 new things. Well, there could have been 15 new things if they wouldn't have just tipped their hat and stuff. But it's a different age here from old days of San Diego Comic-Con, and old days just being like 4 or 5 years ago is what it is. But the snake armor, we knew it was coming, but they did promote it again, talking about the panel once again on the 23rd. We're going to cover it all on the channel, so be on the lookout. Be ready for all that kind of stuff. We also saw, it looks like Walmart Collector's Con, which we mentioned earlier. Looks like we're going to get Night Force Edition Psych Out, which leads me to believe we'll probably get a retro card Psych Out in the future as well. Have to think that's going to be part of the case. Psych Out a classic Joe because he was cannon fodder for me. Him and Windmingle and Sneak Peek, they'd always start my G.I. Joe battles as a kid. They'd always be just murdered and just mowed down. And they'd always be with like a shipwreck or a roadblock, a heavy hitter that would survive the battle but would be injured. But they would get back home to tell Flint, like, guys, we're down, we've been hit. We lost some good men, Windmill, Psych Out, and all this. And then, Duke, where were you? You were supposed to be on the team. And Duke's like, well, I was with my friends Steve and Donnie. We were trying to get some drinks. You know the story by now. But Psych Out should be coming. Night Force first. Once again, it goes to the old adage. I talk about this on the channel all the time. Toy lines are always going to give you not the version you want right off the bat. They'll give you a different one. You're like, well, I need Psych Out. I'll pick up the Night Force one. And then 6 months, a year later, oh, there's the classic one. I'll get that too. That's the plan. That's what they do. It's been done throughout history of action figures, as we know. But very excited for the Joe reveals. We'll cover it all here in the next couple of days. A little bit of Masters of the Universe action this week as well. Looks like the new core line is officially announced, so we should have these very soon. We're getting translucent Skeletor. I don't remember him being translucent in the movie, but you know me. I'm a sucker for glow-in-the-dark and translucent plastic, so we'll get that one. We'll get Tila in a different look, so a different version of Tila, of course. We're getting Triclops is definitely needed, and Ram Man, 2 brand new characters to this line. I'm here for that. I've also heard some reports of these figures being found at Aldi for only $9. So head to your local Aldi if you're going to get some groceries. You can pick up some of these figures along the way. We do see NECA this week. Now, a lot of resets going on. Target back there in the NECA spot, back by the TVs, Todd McFarlane. A lot of changes over there. If your targets are like mine, they've cut down the Funko, NECA, McFarlane, all that stuff has been cut way down. They got all these like Labubu's and things like that going on, a bunch of stuff I don't really care about, but my kids are excited about it. But it looks like the collector's editions have been whacked down. I don't know. We'll see if that changes back in the future, if this is a temporary move with this whole thing. We'll just have to dial into the ebbs and flows. But we've talked about this probably about a year ago. Target said they were cutting back toy aisles. They were going to cut back on toys. I've seen that at all my Targets this week with these brand new resets. A little hard to get used to some of the aisle moves here, but things have been dialed back. There's no doubt about it. So be on the lookout for your Target. And a lot of good clearance going on right now too for you long gamers. But NECA this week, the street date was lifted. So you got the Ghost Scream. I guess Scream Ghost, I guess that's what we'll call him, but in his Santa Claus costume. We got Jason, the Tom Savini issue. We've got, of course, all those Ninja Turtles. We knew all about those Ninja Turtles coming. I have them all on pre-ordered. A lot of those are 2-in-1 Ninja Turtles. Those are out there. Art the Clown. So a lot of new NECA hitting Targets over the next week or two. Your mileage may vary. I know I pre-ordered a lot of these. I think they got delayed if I'm not mistaken. But be on the lookout for NECA. You might have to search around to find it, though, at your new Target store with the new resets. A little bit of panel news here coming up at San Diego Comic-Con. It looks like Playmates will have a panel on Saturday. Normally, I wouldn't be that big of a deal, but this will be very interesting with the Turtles line going away at the end of the year. Mattel is getting the master license. They say they're going to talk Turtles. Now, my gut tells me they're going to talk about their Turtle stuff they got coming through the rest of the year. They'll talk about G.I. Joe. They'll talk about the Army Turtles and all of that. Be very interested if we get any kind of updates for next year, though, on Turtles. I know there was supposed to be a lawsuit of some kind. There was kind of talk about that a couple of months ago. It'll be interesting to see where that ends up going there. How does that all net out? I'm not exactly sure. And I should say right now, don't hold your breath to see any Mattel Turtles or any Mattel DC stuff outside of the kids stuff. I don't think we'll see any of that stuff yet, but you never know. They might surprise us, but they'll definitely talk about it, but I don't think they'll show anything is kind of what I've heard, but hopefully they do. I'm here for it if they do, but I've heard temper the expectations once again. They're not going to say, here's a huge display of all the premium DC. Here's a display of all the new Turtle stuff. I don't think they're quite there yet, but we'll see what ends up happening. But it'll be very interesting to see where Turtles go. Power Rangers go, and Monsterverse if you're into that kind of thing with King Kong, Godzilla. But what are we going to see for Power Rangers? What are we going to see from Turtles, from Playmates going forward? That'd be a very interesting panel to check out. Another interesting one, Jada Toys would be interesting to check out. You get Mega Man, Scooby-Doo, Invincible, Street Fighter updates. Should hear some of that, but I'm more interested in what new toy lines could they get. A lot of people clamoring, hoping they'll get AEW. I don't think we'll get any kind of announcement on AEW either at San Diego Comic-Con, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. But I know a lot of people are hoping Jada Toys does. That would be a good fit because the figures are amazing there. And I think if they did, you know, let's say 8 to 12 figures a year like Jada Toys does with Street Fighter, it would be a slow rollout, which would frustrate a lot of fans, but it would make sure they do it right. They make sure they sell, make sure they get the money they need off the property, and both sides are happy. AEW isn't WWE, so I think that makes more sense. But from everything I've heard, Jada Toys isn't even in the running, but you never know. Once again, there could always be a surprise, but I just don't see it. But once again, you never know. You never know. Todd McFarlane, we'll get to you in a second. Don't interrupt. But we got to talk a little bit of loyal subjects, which we rarely do around these parts. We do got a loyal subjects San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. We got the Condor and Thunderhawk, of course, from Mask, but we got pretty glow-in-the-dark editions. Hologram editions, glow-in-the-dark editions, whatever you want to call them. I'm a Mask kid. I had Boulder Hill. I had a lot of that stuff. I love me some Mask. Really want to collect Mask. You can only collect so much stuff, but I've been really tempted to buy a Thunderhawk just to run it through its paces, see what all the fuss is about. I would like to just have representation of that in my collection. We'll see what ends up happening, but the Thunderhawk glow-in-the-dark edition looks like we're going to be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive for loyal subjects. So if you're after those, head to San Diego Comic-Con and probably their website eventually. And last but certainly least, Todd McFarlane, with you trying to interrupt and butt in throughout this whole video, we do got a little bit of an announcement here from McFarlane, not too much of one, but we did get pretty glamour shots of Spartan from the Wildcats from the Image Founders line. We talked about it last week. Jim Lee was showing it off. I can't wait for this. I really hope we get more Wildcats. I don't think that's the case. We'll have to grab the Grifter that we got a couple of years ago from the Multiverse line. But man, that Spartan looks amazing. Get me Maul. Get me the rest of the team. Zealot. Sure, why not? But I'm here for that, and I'm here for the McFarlane stuff. Now, we talked about last week in the Toy News, all the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. There's a lot from McFarlane. Keep a lookout on those. We'll see what happens in the future. And going to be very interesting what we see and what gets announced and some of the talking points from McFarlane as we go into 2027, a DC list McFarlane, at least as far as the DC Multiverse line. A lot of things in the air. We've talked about it for quite some time here on the channel. One of the most pivotal years in action figure history is 2026. Doesn't maybe feel like it because we're living it, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we'll look back and say, holy cow, DC leaving McFarlane to Mattel, Mattel rolling all this stuff out, Playmates losing Ninja Turtles, rolling all this stuff out with Mattel in the future with the master license, Jazzwares AEW parting ways, AEW going somewhere else, possibly. This could be a big year for action figures. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what nets out. And we should get a little bit clearer on some stuff and probably still murky on some stuff after San Diego Comic-Con. But that's a quick San Diego Comic-Con on the cusp of preview night, Toy News edition. Like I said, I'll have a Toy News video the next day covering preview night, what we found out, what we know. And I'll probably have a Toy News video every single day recapping the day's events for San Diego Comic-Con. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you thumbs up the video. Make sure you check out my other YouTube channel. Check out Patreon. Check out YouTube channel memberships while you're here. That's the best way to support the channel and all the work and all the content and all the fun. All the fun, Todd. Check out Sir Paul 64 on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and the podcast, The Kyle Peterson Show, available every Tuesday where podcasts are found, video cast on YouTube. Check that out as well. And that's about it. That's it for another Toy News, Todd. And of course, you know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into preview night.
Well, are we going to dance or are we going to play?